Joe, I gotta tell you, it just gets better and better every week. I mean, Richard Marx to Europe. Is there nothing the '80s haven't given us?
No, I mean, I hope this isn't our last goodbye, is it? This isn't,
If it is, we had a good run.
no. Can it be the last goodbye to any Ryback references? Can we get through
Let's
this podcast with
let's.
no Ryback references?
It's 10:30. Oh no, I lied. It's 10:14 at night. My goal is to not have a Ryback reference before tomorrow.
That's great. That's actually also my goal.
All right.
So I
Well,
feel really
now
good
that we're
about
on the same page, as we usually are,
All right.
it's good to have you back, buddy. I miss you.
it. Same here. Yeah, this is what E3, right?
This is episode 3, the
E3.
official episode 3. I'm gonna turn into that guy. I'm gonna let you guys know that anybody that's watching this, anybody, like us, share us, comment on us, tweet about us, Instagram about us, because I have a surprise, Joe.
What do you got? You got a surprise for the listeners?
I have a teaser of a surprise.
Let's hear it. Let's have it.
I don't think we're ready for the full.
Wait till the end.
No, I'm gonna give it. I'll give it half of the teaser.
Okay.
I'm
ready right now.
There's gonna be a guest. I've been in contact. My people talk to his people. Spoiler alert: it's a he. In the upcoming weeks, I would say the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have a guest on the show. He's a pretty big deal. If you follow MMA at all, he's got a fight coming up in the UFC. The UFC, excuse me. And he is a huge pro wrestling fan. Also a huge fan of you and I. Okay, that part I made up.
He's got to be. He's bound to be a huge fan.
Who's not a fan of us?
I don't
That's a shoot. That's a shoot right there. We just watched a Young Bucks promo, so excuse us if we have a lot of insider terminology. But so, I mean, I'm pumped about the guest. I'm pumped. I haven't interviewed anybody since 2 weeks ago at work. But
All right.
yeah, aside from that, I haven't interviewed anybody else.
I've never interviewed anybody. So
That's true. Not you interview people at work all the time.
Oh, for work, yeah.
Yeah, for work purposes.
This is real. This is real stuff. Though.
Yeah, this is real stuff. Yeah,
This
stuff
is
that
the one
counts.
that counts.
Where do you want to start, Joe? It's been a busy week. Joe's drinking a ginger ale. The kid went to town on some Burger King today.
Yeah, I had Burger King for dinner. It's really just settling me in for the evening.
Also, I have a lot of angina from the Ranger game.
The Ranger game,
Yeah,
really,
it was
yeah.
fucking brutal.
That
Excuse
really
my
kills.
language. But if anybody's a Ranger fan watching the game, that wasn't a delay of game penalty.
Yeah.
It obviously went off the ice at about the 3-minute mark, off the boards.
Definitely a heart stopper.
Heart-
I don't know, buddy. Where do you want to start this week? Do you want to start? Is there any WWE related stuff that you want to talk about? Do you want to jump right into maybe some NXT stuff? I watched a little bit of NXT's episode from last week the other day, so I'm all caught up on their proceedings.
Okay. What I too watch NXT. It's probably that and Ring of Honor, the things I look forward to the most each week. So we'll hop right into NXT.
Okay.
We have a lot going on in the main event picture.
Yeah, so they're still building on TV to the Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn NXT Championship match.
The slow build.
Yep, they got a long backstory there, so that's good. They have not, to my knowledge, they acknowledged the injury that Zayn suffered on Raw last week in Montreal against.
When you were watching that, did you think that was work or a shoot?
I wasn't sure. I always feel like when the trainer comes into the ring in the middle of the match, that is a legit injury. But I didn't really know obviously until after the fact, and I found out that he injured himself during his entrance. Believe it or not, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah, when he was getting the crowd all worked up, I think he injured his shoulder. But
so we can't blame Cena.
No, unfortunately, I can't blame John Cena for that one. But yeah, so they acknowledged the injury on NXT, but they didn't say anything or allude to the fact that he would not be wrestling in the match against Owens. So I don't know if he's definitely going to wrestle, if it's up in the air. I'm not sure, but they're still building towards that. And I guess one thing that as a positive, that I try to stay as positive as I possibly can.
Yeah, the power of positive thinking.
The PMA.
Keep the PMA.
I'm
sorry. Actually, it's PMA.
PMA. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's
I see what you did there.
It's not me. It's all Toby Morse from H2O and CM Punk.
Okay. One of the things that I really like that they do on NXT specifically, but even in WWE in general, that I think they do really well are those sit-down interviews. So last week's episode had 2 sit-down interviews. Michael Cole had one-on-ones with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and I feel like those are really good because they're kind of different.
Gives it the big fight feel.
Yeah, it gives them the big fight feel. It gives a little bit more insight into the backstory, what each guy is thinking. Kind of develops the characters a little bit, especially for those guys.
Sami Zayn has definitely he's worked on his mic skills. I really enjoy him.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Cena's hilarious. No matter what he does, he's always. Kevin Owens is always really funny. So you really don't. I mean, El Generico, Sami Zayn wrestled under a mask and didn't talk for how long, so he really didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that they said that was one of the biggest obstacles once he came to the NXT and WWE was his ability to talk on the mic, and he's done really well. Even in his ring promos in the NXT, I've liked it. But you're right, that sit down interview with Michael Cole was.
Yeah,
it was enjoyable.
I really liked them both. I mean, and they even do. I think some of the most effective stuff that they've done has been in those sit-down interviews. I remember they did one somewhere between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania with Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, and Roman Reigns. They did a sit-down in WWE studios.
It's one of the 7 weeks in a row when we didn't see Brock Lesnar on TV.
Yeah, but they. I thought that was a really effective way to build up the match and kind of build some conflict between those two guys who,
and a little bit of a backstory too,
Yeah. So I really think they do a good job at that. So I enjoyed both of those.
I'm gonna hark over to MMA real quick. Bellator. I don't know if you follow Bellator at all, if you watch Bellator, but they do great stuff in terms of having a video package about the guy who's fighting, no matter what fight it is on the card, so you're a little more emotionally invested in it. I think that's what the WWE's trying to do, get you a little more emotionally invested in the match. I mean, not like you're not going to be anyway because it's the main feud, but maybe people will see a little more of each guy and they kind of relate better to them, whether it be for good or for bad.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's always good to, I think that's one of the things about some of the characters on the main roster is that you don't really know a lot about these guys or who they are.
I couldn't tell you couldn't tell you poop about who are the guys?
It's a family podcast.
It's a family podcast. That's true. I couldn't tell you a darn thing about Buddy McGurk. What are the guys' names? Enzo and Cass are wrestling.
Blake and Murphy.
The Beverly Brothers. Blake and Murphy Beverly. Those guys look too generic. I mean, I feel like you have to stand out in the ring and let your ring work speak for itself, or you be very good on the mic, and they don't really stand out to me. We're just gonna go right to the tag team division.
Yeah, no, I was there. I was surprised, I guess, that they won the NXT Tag Team Championships off the Lucha Dragons, but I'm
just because they want to bring the Lucha Dragons up.
That's my assumption, is that they were bringing.
Well, it works out well for the Ascension, so.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Sorry. Me neither. They cut some sick promos. Something about Road Warrior Hawk, and then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah. Immediately buried.
Yeah, buried. I mean, there was also we talked about Enzo and Big Cass a couple weeks ago, but there was just an article on WWE.com, top 5 superstars that we want to see brought up from NXT.
Okay.
Enzo and Big Cass were number 2.
Oh, nice. I'm a big fan of that. So, I think, I think those guys really have a lot going on for themselves right now. I think they're getting a tag title shot. This week's episode, they defeated Blake and Murphy in a non-title match for on NXT's weekly show. So yep. I'm assuming, I don't know if the title match has been signed or not. I believe it is. I think
I'm gonna ruin the finish for you. It's gonna have something to do with Carmella.
Yeah, but that's okay, I think, though, because they've been building to that, and whether this is the payoff for it or not at TakeOver, or they just continue to build the story, at least it's something that people can get invested in. And I feel like the fans at least the NXT fans, are really behind Enzo and Cass. So
it's funny because I remember when NXT got big, when they had their first I'll call it a pay-per-view, they had their first event. It came off so well and it was so positive, and all the WWE guys were so mad that the NXT guys have so much longer to develop their storyline. And if you look at what they're doing right now with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, I mean they are building to a huge climax. I'm sure that they need to have a good 2 or 3 matches back to back to back, I would say.
Yeah.
If you got a chance to see any of their stuff in PWG or Ring of Honor, they ladder matches, guerrilla warfare matches, all kinds of fun stuff. So they should not be limited in the ring. And I think anytime you see those two in a big money match, it's gonna be worth your money.
They have a really interesting kind of dynamic going. I was thinking about this the other day when I was watching the show, because a lot of the feud obviously has been built around their history and how things are personal between them, and they keep referencing that Sami Zayn was the best man at Kevin Owens' wedding and all this type of stuff. And it's just interesting. I was thinking about their history. Like you mentioned, they worked in PWG together, they worked in ROH together, and now they're working in NXT together. And hopefully in the next year or two or whatever it may be, they're going to get to work on the main roster in WWE together.
Boy, I hope we can't wait to see that, huh? That's going to be something.
I'm sure they'll never screw up that angle. But
No, not at all. I'm sure they're going to let them do their entire moveset, too.
it's just interesting to me that those guys have such a backstory. Like, you don't really get to see those types of long backstories anymore in pro wrestling these days. Like,
if you're not a tag team, especially. You know?
Yeah, like I was thinking back to like some of these
they were
feuds.
Steen Erico. Yeah.
I was thinking back to these feuds in WWE on the that were like kind of big time feuds for years at a time that lasted. Like it was on and off. Like Brett and Shawn kind of had this thing where it's like they went from being tag wrestlers and kind of feuding there. As soon as they both broke into singles, they were feuding there.
Yep.
Then obviously down the line, they had a real life feud. There was a lot of stuff built off of that on TV.
Let's not go down that road. We know where we stand. You're a Shawn guy. I'm a Brett guy.
Okay.
I want to keep this civil.
Okay. I mean,
but no, you're absolutely right.
But yeah, I'm just trying like the comparison of like feuds like that.
Austin Rock.
Yeah, Austin Rock or Hogan Savage. Like there's like this stuff that like there's like a long simmering history between them, so that whenever they do wrestle each other again to a feud, that there's a lot that you can build off of. So I just kind of feel like they have an opportunity. WWE has an opportunity with these two guys, where obviously you can't keep them feuding forever, but you can always take them apart and bring them back together in different phases, and their feud will always be interesting because of all the history they have with each other and the time.
Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes,
yeah,
guys
Flair
like
Rhodes,
that.
Flair Steamboat, like all this type of stuff. These guys are, like you don't really see that a lot right now on the main roster unless you're a Cena Orton fan, which
I haven't seen enough of that.
I know.
If we could Cena Orton all the way down.
The thing about Cena Orton to me is like obviously they've done it a ton of times, and like those guys are fine. Like I don't hear anything against them as wrestlers or whatever. Their matches are usually entertaining and stuff like that. But there's not a lot of like real history there. Like I think one time Cena kind of brought up they were working in OVW or something, but like there really isn't a lot of personal stuff there between them.
Whereas if you just drop Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a ring anywhere, they're gonna have a 5-star match.
Yeah.
So with the chemistry they have, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I'm gonna hark back real quick because he brought up John Cena. He wrestled Sami Zayn in a good match on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Bret Hart came out, which was awesome. Always love seeing the King of Hearts.
I mean, yeah.
Actually, I was Owen Hart as King of Hearts.
Yeah.
Best there is, the best there was, the best there will be, the best, greatest technical wrestler of all time. Bret the Hitman Hart, King of the Ring, 1993 winner.
I mean, that's yeah.
I apologize. I'm adding fuel to the fire.
That's your opinion. It's okay.
Some say it's opinion.
I mean,
some say it's fact.
To each his own.
To each his own. But yeah, Sami Zayn came out, and the pop was monstrous when he came out. And then the fans were just going all over NXT. And I think, I know Triple H, when he had that, I forget who he was talking to. Maybe it was a Stone Cold podcast when he was talking about NXT. But I think what you're seeing is people really appreciate the actual wrestling, and hopefully that's going to translate into the main product. But who knows? Sami Zayn was over. I know they actually said Zayn and Owens were spotted together, so people thought maybe in Montreal or wherever they were last weekend in Canada. So I thought a lot of people thought that he was going to interfere in the match, which he didn't, which is good. Let him have his moment. He had a great match with John Cena. So I'm already over the springboard stunner. However, I did like the through the ropes tornado DDT, and he hit the Blue Thunder Bomb on him, which is funny.
Yes.
He hit John Cena's move, John Cena's quote unquote move. His is like a spinning back suplex, where Sami Zayn's like a legitimate Blue Thunder Bomb, and it's awesome. And I was like, I wonder if that's like John Cena's like, wow, that's how it's supposed to be done. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, they had a really good match. I mean, it was, like you said, the crowd was very hot for Zayn. They obviously a Canadian wrestler in his own, so they were big into him. He, despite the injury on the way out, put on a very good performance, I thought, with Cena. Most of those matches that Cena's been having with the U.S. Open, U.S. title Open Challenge, or whatever he's calling it, have been pretty good. This was no different. They gave Zayn some offense. They gave him, what you would think would be a legitimate, chance to win, as if you were watching, even though I'm sure most people expected Cena to retain the title.
Did Zayn kick out of the
He kicked out of an AA.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. So I thought they did a...
people are going to think I'm crazy. I hated the fact that he kicked out of that. Nobody's finishers are sacred really anymore.
Yeah, that's
I'm a little
fair.
old school in that way. If anybody watched Samoa Joe versus Jay Briscoe from Ring of Honor Winter Warriors tour, was it? No,
It was the show from the weekend of WrestleMania.
All-Star Weekend? No, I don't remember.
Super Card of Honor.
Super Card of Honor. Thanks to WrestlePedia coming in here. But if anybody watched that match, it was a pretty good match. And the finish saw Jay Briscoe hit one Soul J Driller on Samoa Joe and get the clean 3, which was nice. You don't see that a lot anymore. I don't like. I understand you're trying to sell Sami Zayn as a top tier guy, and I think he is, but I just think it's too early to have him kicking out of John Cena's finisher.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, the thing with the finishers, especially in WWE, is like you said, it's overdone when guys kick out of them. It used to only be like, you know, pay-per-views or major pay-per-views like WrestleMania or whatever it is, where guys would kick out and like you would expect that to sort of happen at that point. But now it seems to happen so frequently, especially in matches. You get to a point now where guys have to hit their finisher 3 and 4 times just to get a pin.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah,
the only finisher I'm okay with people kicking out of would be Tyler Breeze's finisher. What is
the beauty shot?
The beauty shot, which is just the absolute most atrocious finisher. Actually, it's funny. I said that because Joe and I are watching on mute right now. Fandango versus Luke Harper, and he just hit the beauty shot as a regular move. So I feel like it's completely ineffective for Tyler Breeze, who's an awesome super kick by the big guy. Super kick, Plate. Suck it, Fandango. Sorry. Good match so far. We'll talk about SmackDown real quick, just because we've been watching it.
This is the first time I've watched SmackDown since 2004. I don't know why you're making me do this.
Frankly, yeah.
This is unacceptable.
I don't appreciate Joe shooting on me in midair. You know, like I'm trying to talk positively here. What happened to PMA already, Joe?
I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what? Do you know the reason why? Trivia question. Do you know the reason why I stopped watching SmackDown in 2004?
Because JBL was champion.
Yes.
Too sweet. Trivia question.
Trivia knows me well, folks.
God. So as we're watching right now, Rowan is coming out to confront Harper. It looks like.
Right. So the match was Harper against Fandango. Harper.
Can you
won.
have a little bit of respect for the man?
What was that? What did I say?
You said Fandango. It's Fandango.
I'm not.
All right, I'll do that for you from now on. Anytime, just give me a cue. I got it for you.
So we're sitting here watching Rowan and Harper in the ring with each other. Seems like they're teasing a reunion between the two.
Harper really looks like Jason Lee from Chasing Amy. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna.
Jason Lee from My Name Is Earl. Jason Lee.
Yeah,
okay.
From Chasing Amy. He looks like that.
Okay,
now I don't know why Rowan. Did he just turn heel?
So basically, it seems like the tease is that Rowan he's attacking Fandango after the match is over. Harper already beat Fandango, and now Rowan came out and kind of beat him up a little bit more after the bell. So the tease obviously is that
he doesn't look like. He looks like my.
He looks like My Name Is Earl.
Yeah, he is. Quick call. My name is Brody Lee. So, but he was just a face, and he was just on Team Cena. This is what I mean about the continuity. You know?
Well, I mean, do you think at this point it's just one of those things where they have no direction for either guy, and they realize
I find it hard to believe that the WWE lack direction for guys that can actually wrestle.
Yeah. Well, they made this whole big deal about splitting up the Wyatt family, and I don't know what the exact reason was for that. I mean, I'd heard things like Vince was kind of wanting to push Harper. Obviously, that didn't last very long, but it seems like they're they didn't really do a whole lot with Rowan. They kind of put him in a quick feud with Big Show, which he lost.
And they also threw Dean Ambrose into the, if we're talking about mid-card guys, they threw Dean Ambrose into the Fatal 4-Way against Reigns and Rollins and Orton.
Right, at the Payback pay-per-view. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I am indifferent towards it. I mean, good for Ambrose for getting a main event spot. He is one of the few guys that I think has gotten organically over with the audience in terms of people legitimately wanting to root for him. Unlike perhaps a Roman Reigns of sorts, who has not organically gotten over with the fans. But, I mean, Ambrose is, he's had good matches since he's been up on the main roster, and even since the split with the Shield, whatever opportunities he's been given in the different feuds. He had a long feud with Rollins, which was solid. He had a feud with Wyatt, which was fine. He got into that kind of title mix. Yeah, I mean, so he's done a good job. I mean, he has good matches. He's over. He's entertaining. He's an interesting promo. I mean, he's merchandise sells. I mean, they want to put him in the main event probably because they don't have any direction for him. Then that's quite all right.
They don't have direction for me. Should they put me in the main event?
I mean, I'd buy a ticket to see it.
Actually, no. That's a shoot because Joe has actually bought tickets to see me compete before.
It's true.
On multiple occasions.
Every time.
Ev- 90% of the time, it works every time. We didn't prepare this. I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm going to throw this off the top of my head to WrestlePedia right now.
Okay.
Give me 5 wrestlers. They have to be from at least one from each WWE, NXT, and Ring of Honor. 5 wrestlers that you could watch wrestle each other, interchangeable at any point, and not get sick of it.
So wait, so
You have 1 through 5, right, in a bag. You could pick out two guys, 2 numbers, and they wrestle each other, and they'll be good matches. 5 guys.
okay.
I'm really putting the big guy on the spot.
Well, I mean, I think obviously we were talking about it before, so I would definitely, whatever you want to call them, Owens and Zayn or Steen and Generico.
Okay,
Those guys.
so there's 2.
I think those 2 guys are excellent. So 2 guys from WWE, NXT, or ROH.
At least 1 from each. Yeah.
At least 1 from each.
Top 5. If you've watched High Fidelity, top 5.
Top 5. All right, so Owens and Zayn.
Owens and Zayn.
That's hard because I mean, how do tag teams count in this at all? I mean,
Nope.
They don't count.
Nope,
Okay,
they
so
don't
singles
count.
guys. Okay,
Just singles guys.
I enjoyed, and this is maybe a little bit biased because we saw it in person, but I did enjoy the Adam Cole and Jay Briscoe feud that took place. It was a long running feud in Ring of Honor for the ROH World Title. Lasted I think about a year and a half or so.
Yep.
Between the 2 of them. We were at Final Battle last year where Briscoe retained against Cole. It was a great match. I thought the feud was built up really well.
I agree.
Everyone was super into it. So
Both of them? You included both of them?
Yeah.
Okay, now you have 1 left. He's got to be from WWE.
So who's he going to wrestle if there's only 5 guys? I have to pick. Is it uneven? Or?
No, you'd be fine.
Okay.
They're
So I can pick
interchangeable.
one. Oh, okay. One guy can wrestle any of
Yeah.
them. Okay.
I know who you're going to go with.
Do you? Because I don't even know who I'm going to.
Okay. If I know you, I think you'd say Dolph Ziggler.
You know what? I do like Ziggler, but I don't know if from the main roster. Well, I personally, I mean, you'll probably not like this, but one guy who I could watch wrestle at any point is Brock Lesnar. So I enjoy his matches. I think.
Well, we're gonna wrap it here. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
He's gonna kick me out of his house.
I'm not gonna kick you out of my house, Joe. My house would get a lot less attractive if you would leave.
False.
Nah, it's not false.
It's not true.
It's not false. I pay the mortgage with pictures of your biceps. I pay my phone bill with tweets of your calves. All right, so you have Jay Briscoe, Adam Cole, Brock Lesnar,
Kevin Owens,
Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
I think it's a great list. I think I disagree with the Brock Lesnar. I'm sorry.
Okay. We can talk about that in another podcast.
Yeah,
we can dedicate a podcast.
We could
to that if
dedicate a
want.
podcast. A podcast. That's a new one. A podcast to me, you, and Brock Lesnar. But I'm gonna try to personally. I'm gonna pick 5 different guys than you did.
Okay,
make it
let's
easy.
do it. I'm ready.
From WWE, going to Cesaro.
Oh, I didn't think this is all right.
I'm gonna go with Cesaro. I'm gonna go with AJ Styles. I'm gonna go with Neville. I'm gonna go with Finn Balor. And the 5th one is gonna be. I'm gonna go. No, I can't do it. I think.
Are you choosing between Fandango and Adam Rose right now?
Yes, I was choosing between Fandango and Adam Rose.
It's a tough choice.
I would probably
Take
go
your
with my man Kyle O'Reilly.
Okay. I considered him.
I just don't want to break up Red Dragon.
Yeah, that's why
ever in my life.
The tag
So,
teams, I wasn't sure about that.
I feel like a scumbag for doing that. But that's something to think about it because you got to think about a guy that can wrestle anybody and a guy that can put on good matches with anybody. Cesaro is a prime example of that.
Yes.
I think he's had good matches with everybody from John Cena to Sami Zayn to Tyson Kidd. They had good matches before they were a tag team. He can pull a good match out of Consequences Creed. The man's got my vote, Joe. The man has got my vote.
What do you have against Consequences Creed? Xavier Woods?
I don't have anything against Apollo Creed from Rocky 3. Okay. I just think Rocky should have thrown the towel. Much like they should have thrown the towel in the New Day gimmick. Look at that. That is bringing it full spectrum. Joe, what else do you want to talk about? We've got a couple of minutes left. We've got about 5 to 10 minutes left.
Okay.
I can't be any more excited for the Evolve show that we're going to.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks away from today?
3 weeks away.
3 weeks away.
May 31st.
Can you give me some of the talent? That's
I would be happy to.
All right.
May 31st. It's a Sunday. It's going to be around Concom, New York. You have not the creator, but I guess the motivation behind our podcast, Mr. All Night Long himself, Rich Swan, Johnny Gargano, a.k.a. Johnny LeRae, the premier athlete brand of Anthony Neeson, Caleb Conley, Biff Busick, Drew Gulak, Davey Richards, Trevor Lee, Speedball Mike Bailey, and more. I do not see Roderick Strong on here.
Well, I think it was announced from what I saw that Roderick Strong would be facing Drew Galloway for the title that night that we go. So maybe it's just not listed under the talent list, but I believe that's
that's what I thought too. Andrew Galloway. I'm super pumped to see Trevor Lee in person because we just watched him PWG, and that dude is a savage. Speedball Mike Bailey is really good too. It's going to be a super, super awesome card. So you should pony up the money, go to wwnlive.com and watch it on there. Or if you're like us and you're from Long Island, just come out and watch it.
I think will you be signing autographs at this show?
I might do a run in the main event. It's close.
Spoiler alert, dude. For people going on that.
I feel like
We'll edit that out. That's fine.
Why are you blocking your ears? Sorry. That's gonna be so much fun. We're sitting second row, so we don't get crushed like the poor guy.
Yes, I'm still afraid of the concussions. So.
Yeah. I welcome the concussion, Joe. I bring on the concussion. Real quick, topical. Let's talk about Ring of Honor this week because what's going on this week, Joe?
I think is it Global Wars first or War of the Worlds?
War of the Worlds first, yeah.
Okay, War of the Worlds.
The New Japan Pro Wrestling talent. I'm a huge New Japan Wrestling mark. Joe, you are too. I have New Japan World, which I have to use my Safari browser to translate from Japanese to English text. So I get things like Match 9, Ippon, the Battleground. I'm like, well, I don't even know what they're saying, but I just know when I see Tanahashi on screen. May 12th, May 13th, May 15th, and May 16th are the first two nights are War of the Worlds in Philly. The second two nights are the Global Wars in Ontario, Canada. We could talk about all the cards. Let's just talk about the one that's going to be the pay-per-view. Okay. That's going to be on Friday. We got to figure out what we're doing for that.
This week is Friday?
Yeah, this Friday.
Holy cow.
May 15th, yeah. The card, main event, we just watched a promo for it, actually, was the ROH All-Stars, which is the Briscoes, Roderick Strong, and War Machine, versus the Bullet Club, which is...
You got a hairball there?
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Machine Gun Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, AJ Styles, and the Young Bucks. There's just too much talent for that match to be anything but great.
That should be great.
I don't know if it's elimination or not.
No promotions ever seem to note that in these big tag matches.
I would love to find out because I don't want that to be a one-pin match with all those guys. I don't have anything against War Machine, but I just feel like if you're going to be the ROH All-Stars, you'd probably pick, I don't know.
So you don't think War Machine?
I do like War Machine. I like Rowe. I like Hanson. I just don't know if I would put them in that match. Although them versus Gallows and Anderson would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The rest of the card, real quick. The Kingdom versus Matt Sydal and Jushin Thunder Liger, which is Michael Bennett and Matt Taven. That's a strange match. It would be awesome. Chris Sabin versus Kushida. That's pretty interesting because they're both really tag team partners of Alex Shelley. Yeah. This match, I don't know. It was like Battle Bowl 92, the Lethal Lottery. It's Geto and Moose versus Watanabe and Silas Young. You might as well team up like me and Jim Brewer against like Joe and Brother Love because those are just the four strangest. I don't know. Jim Brewer, what's going on? I'm just going to go past that. The next match should be insane. Shinsuke Nakamura versus ACH.
That should be really entertaining.
Four-way tag match. This will steal the show. Write it down. The Addiction versus Roppongi Vice versus The Decade versus Red Dragon.
Oh, excellent. Nice.
Oh, good. BJ Whitmer. God, he sucks.
Oh, boy.
Sorry.
Mike's we have a personal vendetta against BJ Whitmer.
Oh, no, it's BJ Whitmer. Cedric Alexander versus Okada, the Rainmaker. Michael Elgin versus Tanahashi.
Great.
Jay Lethal versus Tetsuya Naito. And the main event of the All-Stars versus the Bullet Club. That is going to be so cool.
That's a stellar card. That's so Friday night, May 15th.
This Friday. Maybe we could do like a live podcast.
Yeah. That way our one listener can live tweet us while we do it. That'd be great.
Speaking of our one listener, I'm going to have to work on the Twitter machine. They were asking me to show them Twitter. I feel like We need a producer, too, is what I'm thinking about it. What else do we need?
We need a lot of things. We need listeners. We need people to be sharing our stuff all over the
Share us, tweet us, tell them
media.
you love us, damn it. What else you got for me, Joe? We got anything else going on?
I mean, there's a lot going on, but I think that covers a lot of good wrestling stuff for this week. We got NXT. The NXT special is the 20th.
There we go.
So that is a week and a half from today, which is today is what, the 10th? 11th? I don't know what day it is.
All I know is it's the day that the Rangers beat the Caps.
Yeah. So it's the 20th, so about a week and a half, 10 days from today. So we got, I think, one or two more shows before that one. So that's coming up good. We got the ROH show coming up on Friday night. So that's be good. That's going to be good too. Hopefully we can IPPV that and have no streaming issues. And then WWE has, obviously they'll do Raw and SmackDown this week. It's their go-home week before the pay-per-view payback for the following Sunday. And I really don't want to go down the card for that because they've just got like 2 matches they've announced. And
yeah, I'm sure we'll find out more matches come this week, and probably like 2 more matches added the day before, and then another match added on the pre-show the day of, and they're going to switch the match on the pre-show. I could probably tell you this right now. I wouldn't expect there to be a tag team title match on the card. It's probably going to be the pre-show again.
Yeah, it seems to be that seems to be their pattern a lot. They want to put the tag.
And if somebody knows the answer to this, maybe Joe, even if you know the answer, feel free to tell me. Are they doing the Freebird rule with the New Day, where they have the 3 guys wrestle?
I don't. They might be
interchangeable.
I think the main team has been Big E and Kofi, just because they. But I don't know if they. I'm sure that they probably will allow Woods to swap in and out or whatever whenever they need to. So I mean, I think
because they wouldn't let Demolition do it. They wouldn't let Demolition do it with Crush.
It was very upsetting as a kid that they would, try to interchange those guys.
Because they look so similar. Bill Eadie, who was Axe, was like 70 in 1975 as it is. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. God.
So he was like 90 when he won the tag titles?
Yeah, and then 91 and a half when they dropped him to Heart Foundation, SummerSlam 90, right? No. Yeah. Dropped him to the Heart Foundation 90?
Yeah, I think it was 90, right? And then
yes, they dropped him to the Heart Foundation SummerSlam 1990 because they tried the whole switcheroo thing in a 2 out of 3 falls match, and Legion of Doom came out.
This is all true stories, my friend.
Man, I'm pumped that I remembered that.
It's a great job.
There was just, because it's on topical now, it's on top of my head. I was just reading something that the WWE Network said they're not in a rush to add old classics to the network because nobody watches it. Okay. If you're going to put any Monday Night Raw from the last 17 years in front of me, or Survivor Series 1988, now trending, I'm watching Survivor Series 1988.
So, you're not watching the Jerry Springer show on the network, is what you're saying?
No, Joe. No, I'm not watching the Jerry Springer show.
Apparently a lot of other people are, because that's what everybody's watching. Everyone's interested in all these new shows and stuff like that.
There's the Jerry Springer show. There's Mick Foley, Hard Knocks, and Cheap Pops, I think it is. Mm.
I did watch it. That was actually
yeah, I'm not knocking that, but it's WWE Network is more, to me, it's
Legends House. Did you watch Legends House?
Is that the one with Pat Patterson?
Yeah.
And Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler?
I don't know if the Brooklyn Brawler was on it. He might be. I don't.
I think he was behind the scenes.
This is taking a downward spiral here, turn here. I don't like.
I don't think it is. I think I was an inside. Big E has the most ridiculous man boobs I've ever seen.
Let's right the ship here.
Yeah, let's get back to it. Congratulations to Cody Rhodes' wife on becoming the new announcer for SmackDown, by the way. I'm just trying to bring it back from behind.
It's my fault for bringing up Legends House. That's just poor booking on my part.
I swear this is the last thing, and then we'll get off the air, but I remember you talking about how much you hated what happened on Raw in regards to the tag team champions.
Well, I think they actually ended up getting the win against Reigns and Orton. But as a general rule, I do not like when the tag team champions are put in handicap matches against singles main event wrestlers and then lose. I think Kid and Cesaro did that not long ago, a month or two ago, when they were the champs, and I think it was possible when they were on the European tour, and there was some. I think it was actually Randy Orton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then they put him in a handicap match.
They 2-on-1 lost to Randy Orton.
Yeah, so that's another
way to devalue your
pet peeve of
champions.
mine is I don't like when they job the tag champs in a handicap match to a singles wrestler, but that's neither here nor there.
Put it on the list. Natalia's looking phenomenal. All right, well, we're going to wrap it. Share our podcast, like our podcast, tweet us.
We need to feel the love, people.
We need to feel... I'm Does it look like stable thoughts go through my mind, Joe? Not what someone call a rational thinker. I need this.
We can't sleep at night. I don't
I-
sleep at night.
I sleep
You
on my
don't-
side.
Okay.
Not for long, because the summer nights have just been endless. I feel like